He couldn't think. He couldn't move. He couldn't breathe. The knot in his stomach was pulled so tight he thought it might squeeze his insides in two. He was overwhelmingly cold and hot at the same time, frozen in place while his heart attempted to burst forth from his chest in terror. There was no controlling this. It was all-consuming, anywhere and everywhere. The fear was gripping so tightly, in his legs, in his torso, in his throat, in his very soul itself. Dark tendrils rose up from the edge of the abyss, clamping his feet 3 inches from the edge, rooting him in place. Flashes of light broke through the smoky haze surrounding him, but this was a dull, lifeless light, illuminating his surrounds just enough to see the abyss stretched out in all directions, consuming the horizon, leaving nothing from its terrifying grasp. Amongst the tornado of terror that raged within his mind, a single thought emerged. Why? Why had he forsaken himself to this torture, this torment? He began to realize that he had an influence in the matter. He didn't have to be here. He could turn his back on the nightmare before him and crawl feebly back to the place from whence he came. But still, why? Why force himself into this unknown, this fear, if it could have been avoided completely by remaining where he used to be? Amongst the malevolence that raged both within and around him, the truth of his situation flickered before him. A spark of realization flickered, a feeling of wanting something more. The spark quickly ignited, causing a burst of light to flash through his synapses, momentarily blinding the fear that had consumed him. The burst was just enough to allow another feeling to emerge: control. The fear didn't control him. It didn't exist anywhere but in his mind. He had control, and he knew he was meant to be here, to take on the beast that lay ahead. With all his strength, he exercised this newfound authority over his body and mind. Warmth rushed back into his muscles, expelling the paralysis. He could move again, and he knew what he must do next. Fighting every second to maintain control, his foot slowly began to struggle against the roots that entrapped his lower limbs. Blood and strength and fire and light coursed through his body, dissolving the dark forces that had so recently consumed him. The spark of truth now blazed like an inferno as his foot dangled over the top of the abyss, ready to take the leap into the unknown ocean before him. And there he stood. Yes, he stood, not falling away into the nothingness, not consumed by the oblivion, but he stood. The darkness around him rapidly began to evaporate, bright, vibrant light replacing it and revealing the truth for all to see. The abyss was a deception. It had appeared as vast and deep as the very universe itself, but in reality it was a puddle, raising barely an inch up to his feet. He laughed. Joy and astonishment and gratitude danced through him, filling him with life, and he began to dance too, bounding over the new comfort he had found, simply by overcoming fear that had existed only in his mind. A deception. He had conquered it in order to reach new heights.